Hello everyone, welcome to this webinar. We are here with Javier Gonzalez, which is the Technical Director of the SOLIDWORKS product, SOLIDWORKS Electrical and PCB. So he is here today to present the different news and improvements that are in those products. Well, we will begin with the PCB side, right?
Yes, we will begin with PCB, yeah.
Perfect. So if you can, for example, comment the improvements of 2019 in the documentation side, for example?
Yes, we've got a few enhancements for documentation. The first one, I'm going to talk just 1 minute about the concept of SolidWorks. SolidWorks, because it's very related with the documentation.
Yes.
So I always use this slide to explain the concept of SolidWorks to me, which is a single project for everything. You got one project, you have different views, but it's one single project for everything. Our competitors, it's not like they cannot design a product, simulate the product, add electrical information to it, etc. But they need to import, export information between different platforms. So that makes things a little bit more difficult.
Yeah.
So this is a view of SolidWorks, of the portfolio, all the solutions of SolidWorks. In SolidWorks we have, again, one project, but you can consider that project from many different views, like the electrical, the mechanical design, the PCB design, as today we're going to talk about PCB, or maybe plastics. And all these produces deliverables, okay? So if you work with Composer, which is somewhere here,
Yeah.
you create basically a manual, a handbook of your product. But if you work with Visualize, you can create a realistic 3D view or movie from your product in motion.
Okay.
So these are different deliverables. And all these deliverables, are managed by PDM, SolidWorks PDM. So the first feature, the first enhancement for PCB this year is that PDM and PCB are integrated, they work together directly. Okay, so there is it's 2019, it's available already for all the customers from our website, the integration.
Great.
And about documentation, there's another new feature that takes us back a few years, because this is related with old formats like DXF and DWG. With SolidWorks PCB, we can generate different formats, many different formats, like like PDF, for instance, many different formats. But some people still use this for production environment, formats like DXF and DWG. So now SolidWorks PCB includes the option to export to those formats. There are different options for that. You can include a previous release, not the latest release of DWG. So if they have a product that was discontinued, or maybe a product that they don't renew anymore, so you can send that information in that format, in the previous format. And then there are more options to include or exclude information, specific information from your project. There are many of them. Once you create this DWG or DXF, you can add that file to your project, and you can open that from SolidWorks, for instance, or DraftSite, which is compatible with DWG and DXF also. So yeah, that's about documentation.
Okay, that's great. Okay, and then the level of managing a project, of project management.
Yeah, to manage a project, it's inside the PCB. It's quite complicated to manage all the possible components and all the projects you have. speaking about the components specifically, if you have a PCB just like this one, this is a very simple one, but you can have many different components.
Yes.
You can have hundreds of them. So if you look for a specific component here, could be hard work, because even all the components are listed on the left hand side in the feature tree. You need to scroll down until you find the one you're looking for. But we included a box on the top of the feature tree in SOLIDWORKS that you can type a value. So when that value is coincident with some of any component in your list, what it's going to do is turn off the visibility of everything but the component you're looking for.
Okay.
So that's very, very useful, because sometimes in the PCB design the component is hidden. It's not here in this view, but it's on the back side.
Yeah.
So if you look through the list and you click on it, if it's on the back side, you're not going to see it. But now you will see it, because it's going to hide everything but the component you're looking for. That's about the project, for the components inside the project, to manage that. Then you have the project itself, the projects you manage. So the list could be huge in a company of the number of projects they use. Now we included in the mechanical side of SOLIDWORKS PCB, we included the option, another box for searching on the top. And you can just type again a value, and again it's going to filter only the results that are coincident with that value.
Okay.
You may also sort by the column. So you can go and say, okay, I would like to check, the most recent version of this project, so you can sort by the modification date.
That's great. Okay, that's a global view, this one, and the other one was a view only on the PCB.
Yes, a specific view of a project, of the product.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. So, more stuff. This is about the 3D, okay, the 3D design.
Ah, right.
So we are going.
It was my next question.
Yes.
we are at the improvement at the design level now.
Yes.
Okay.
We have a lot of them, because it's probably the strongest point. It's not the point. It's really the concept of the tool that makes SOLIDWORKS PCB special, is the way it's integrated, is working with the mechanical. That's really what is the core of the software. So one of the features that we included is the flipping component. So the concept is very easy. You can take any component, and if you need to flip that to the back side of the PCB, as a concept is very easy. But if you think about the design, mechanical design, to put this component in this specific location, you need to put some distances with another components, or to the edge of the PCB, things like that. So if you are going to change that position, you need to modify all that.
Yeah, okay.
So it's possible, but it's going to take some time. Now we included an option to flip the component. So you don't need to delete all these relationships and create new ones in the back. Excuse me. Now I'm back. You just need to go there and flip the PCB component, and automatically it's going to the backside.
Okay, that's great.
And it's 1 second
Okay,
compared
that's
to
super easy.
minutes.
That's great.
Many minutes. Okay. Then about the 3D also, you may need to fix a component. The previous was to flip it. Now you need to fix it. You don't want anyone to go there and change the position of that component. Until 19 release was possible to do it at SOLIDWORKS with SOLIDWORKS tools. You got the fix option, so you select the component, you say fix, no one is going to move it. The problem is that if you go to the electrical side of things, to the PCB design, purely PCB side of things, it was possible to move, because that was only limited to the mechanical design, not to the electrical design.
Yeah.
Now, if you fix something on the mechanical side, it's going to be fixed, locked, we say, in the electrical side, it's going to be fixed. So even if you don't tell me, I won't be able to move that, and I know that something is happening with that specific component.
Oh, that's powerful. Awesome.
And more 3D. There's we put here like multi-contour hole sketches. I can't even pronounce that properly. Sorry, but this is so complicated. But what that means is that SolidWorks has very powerful tools for mechanical design.
Mm-hmm.
So there are options to generate designs faster. For instance, one way to create these holes here is to create one single hole each time. But the other option is to create like a matrix, like a sequence of holes going that way, and it's saving you a lot of time. The problem is that when that was taken into SolidWorks PCB side of things, the electrical, the engine for the design inside PCB software is not that powerful as SolidWorks, so it wasn't very capable of understanding this.
Okay.
So now, because SolidWorks PCB is SolidWorks, it's not just a name, it's the same product. Now we are able to make the electrical part to understand this. So that means that the mechanical guy is not going to be limited. You don't need to tell the mechanical guy, no, you need to produce one hole each time.
Yeah.
So you can use your own tools, your mechanical tools, and I will be able to use that in the electrical side. So the mechanical guy is going to like this a lot, I think.
Mm-hmm. That's great. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and more things. This is about the thickness. Okay.
Okay.
I said a moment ago that the software for PCB design is not very powerful in terms of mechanical design. So you may go to your electrical design and put a distance like here. This is the thickness of the PCB.
Yes.
And when you try that to send that to a mechanical design, to a mechanical, an MCAT, a mechanical software, you know, when you export, you import, sometimes you get, you know, not the real value, but you try to cut that value to the next entire value, or it depends. But you may lose information.
Yeah.
Now, again, because it's SolidWorks, we are working the same platform and we speak the same language. You will be able to send information, and the information reproduced in the mechanical side is going to be exactly the same with no error. So whatever is the measure, you're using that there in the electrical side, the mechanical side is going to show you exactly the same measure. That you are not going to lose any information, okay, in the process. And last, but not last, there are two more to go. This is number 9. Number 9 is about the copper traces, okay? So the typical concept in the mechanical is that you give me the PCB with the components, and I check if that fits or doesn't fit, and that's it. But so we didn't care much about the copper traces. The copper traces is the paths that connect two components, but these are flat, so we don't care about the size. It's meaningless for the size.
Okay.
So we included the copper traces now, because if the mechanical guy goes to the PCB and creates a hole or changes that in any way, maybe the copper trace is going to be broken.
Of course.
That's not a good idea. So we included that now in the 3D, so the electrical guy is going to create everything, and the mechanical side of things will include not only the components but the copper traces. The copper traces are going to be displayed in one assembly per level, because you may have several levels in a PCB, and each level is going to be different. And the reason for that is for documentation. You may want to show that in different colors, or maybe you want to hide all but one, so you can have a clear view of your copper traces. So you can play a little bit around with this, and it's going to change the view of your PCB.
Okay.
And now, yes, the last is the envelopes. What's the envelope? When we talk about electrical PCB design from the mechanical, we just normally we're talking about a PCB, and that's it. I get the PCB, I change something, I send that back, etc. But when you are in the mechanical context, maybe there is something close enough to the PCB, so it's limiting your ability to move things around. So could be like the frame for my PCB. If I put the frame on this, obviously I cannot put a component on the top of a frame. I'm limited. The problem was that you could do that in mechanical, but the electrical guy couldn't get the frame because it's not PCB, it's just a mechanical component. Now, if we define this as an envelope, that will appear in the PCB side of things.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm the electrical guy, I will see that there is something there, like a frame, and I'm not able to put something here. It's going to give me some good information, and I don't need to send that to the mechanical guy. We can share this.
Okay, great. Great news for
that's the last
PCB.
one.
Yeah, that's it. Now we're going with electrical. That's it.
Yes.
Okay.
We're going to
So, well, let us know what are the main news, and for example, in the way we create a project in SolidWorks Electrical, what is now, what are the main news?
Yes, for SolidWorks Electrical, we included. It's not really an enhancement. It's taking an enhancement that was there from a previous release a little bit further. So it's project macros. What mean a project macro is that so far the users from electrical were able to automate the production of the project. And the way they do that is they create just a column with a name of a circuit, and that name of the circuit relates with a circuit in SolidWorks Electrical. So you can ask SolidWorks Electrical to read this Excel, and it's going to take, okay, this circuit is this circuit, and this circuit is the other one, and so on. And it's going to generate the project for you, reading the Excel one after the other. The improvement is that now you can not only generate a new project based on circuits, but you can generate a new project based on projects. So let's say that all these circuits in pink or red, that belong to a single project. So you can just use one single line that takes all this information.
Instead of the 50 you want.
Yes, so if it takes 100 lines to create your project, well, you're going to reduce that a lot. Okay, so it's a way to make things quicker and easier, because it's easier to check 10 lines than 1,000.
Of course.
And about creating projects, there is a new feature which is mated connectors. Mated connectors stands for until 19 release. What we were doing with connectors was to create a connector like a symbol, and if that connector was connected with another one, we created another symbol.
Okay.
But some users like the idea to create one single symbol with two sides, where one side is one connector, the other side is the other connector. So it's easier to see, I guess.
Visual,
it gives you better visual information, I guess.
That's right.
So now we included this option, left and right. So if we choose this option inside the configuration of connectors, the users have the ability to create the mated connector, the two connectors together. One goes to one side and the other goes to the other side. And I think it's really easier to read the circuit if you do it that way. But anyways, more things. This is about the content. Okay, content.
Okay.
And this is the feature number one from the field, from our customers, right? We when new features are included inside SolidWorks, they are included based on the demand.
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
So more people demanding something, that goes to the top of the list. So the number one on the top of the list for electrical was this one, imperial metric. What means that? That means that until 19 again, we were working on metric units. So if I'm working with in the UK or America, and I'm using imperial, I had to take the size of a component and convert that to millimeters, because that's in inches. Now we included the option to change from imperial to metric. So if I need to work with imperial units, I don't need to convert anything. I just need to take the value and put the value here. You're ready to go.
Okay.
So, and yeah, that was the number one demand last year. So yeah, again, if people really wants to include some features inside the product, that's the way to do it. I mean,
yeah.
we really work that way.
Okay.
Yes, and this is about content also a little bit, but it's documentation at the same time. This is the drawing navigation, okay? Drawing navigation means that we included the ability to jump to a specific drawing. If you have hundreds of drawings inside the project, you can jump to that specific drawing from a few menus, okay? So there's a first menu here where you have all the connections, all the components. So you can go to a component and say, okay, I want to go to that component. And it's going to jump directly to that component. It's going to zoom in to that component. So you don't need to look through all your project, okay, which is crazy. In the same way, you may navigate from a list of drawings. So you can see I have 400 drawings more. So if you click on the name of the drawing, you jump to the drawing. You don't need to scroll down again. And for our users that are designing PCBs, this is a specific part of the software.
Okay.
The menu, the PCB manager includes the option to navigate also to that specific part of your PCB.
Yeah.
Okay. The PCB could be really long, so you can also jump into it. I think it's good. Okay. Another one? Yeah. The view in reallocation. Okay. This is about components. Again, at the moment we show the information. These are locations, and inside the location the components.
Yeah.
So this component belongs to this location here. This component to the other location there. The problem is that a component may have sub-components or childs, you can call it child, or slaves. And you don't know exactly if these components included inside the main component are on the same location or not. Now you can change the view of it, and what it's going to do is to show you the real location. Even these components are inside the main one, is going to show you on which location they are positioned.
Perfect.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, so in the creation of content is what we have now?
Yes, yes.
Okay, and for example, in documentation, as we saw before in PCB, what are the improvements in electrical?
In the documentation, one part of the documentation is to number your components, right? So if you number your components, there are two options, because we have two different types of drawings. One drawing is the pure electrical drawing that you can see here, and the other is a visual drawing that we call it synoptic or cabling diagram. It's more visual. So when you number the components, you number the components from top to bottom. It could be from left to right, but we do it from top to bottom. But okay, which one you choose? Because this component is this component here, and this component is this component here, and they are in both places. So which one? Because if you start from here to number, this could be number 1, 2, 3, and this could be, a different position, so they will have a different value. So now we included the option to choose which type of drawing is going to drive the numbering. So if you choose this one, This one is going to drive it's going to number the components from top to bottom, 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is going to assume whatever is the numbering on this side. So we are not going to take this position, we are going to take this position, or vice versa. You can create the numberings based on this one, and this one is going to take the other. So now you can choose both. Okay. And you say about documentation. This is more documentation. These are report views.
Okay.
Okay. What is a report view? When you create documentation, it's a report. Okay. What you create, and we have a lot of reports inside the SOLIDWORKS Electrical. But sometimes some customers like to create their own reports.
Yeah.
Okay, because they don't like the way it's sorted, they don't like the fields, whatever. At the moment, if you need to create something, you need to type code, like here, okay? And although it's fun, in a way it's fun, it can take some time to do it.
Yeah, of course.
So what we included in this this new version, 2019, is the views. What the view is that if you need to create a report, and that report is about, I don't know, wires, for instance, you don't need to start from scratch, typing everything.
Okay.
You can take this is like a small report. So you take this report, you add it there, and probably you're saving, 80% of the time.
It's like a template to read.
It's like a template. Actually, these are templates.
Perfect.
These are templates, and these are classified by the type. So it's a template for wires report, a template for cables, a template for
That's
PLCs.
awesome. It will save a lot of time to the users.
Yeah, hope so.
That's really cool.
So these are the views. I think this is a good one. And this is about the connection points. Connection points. About connection points for black boxes in this case. A black box is just a type of components that we use when we don't know what's here. Because you cannot leave the wires hanging there. You put a black box and you're telling everybody that I don't know what is this, but there is something. Okay, so far, when you connected a wire to a black box, appeared a symbol, a dot, okay, with a number, and that's it. But now it's possible to add more information. Here I'm using 3 attributes, which is the same as here, the name of a connection, 1, 2, 3. Mnemonic, which is just text, you can add anything into it, I put mnemonic. And the other one is the connection on the other side. Okay, so you can go to configuration and say, okay, I want to add these attributes. These are, the users will know that this is the shape of the attribute, okay, something. And I'm using the same colors. Okay, so you can add the number of attributes you want to use, that they appear here, and they will automatically show the information close to the connection point.
Okay, that's great. Also.
Yeah, it's all automatic.
Okay.
And there is one more to go.
Yeah.
And it's, no, 2 more to go, excuse me. The number was wrong, 19 twice. Okay, so there are 2 more to go. This is about circuits.
Okay.
Okay, this is
circuit
about
design.
circuit design, yes. So, for circuit design, when you create connections, and for some reason you need to change that connection because it's wrong. Now you had to go to that particular connection, delete the connection, and create a new connection. So this is an example from a cable, and here if you want to change the connection, because actually the first goes here and the fourth goes on top, you had to delete this one, delete the other, connect this one, connect the other. Now, if that's the case, you just need to select both and select the option flip the connections, and they will just flip like this. So you don't need to do all this process of connecting, disconnecting, because some people, not some people, but it's easy that if you connect and connect this and disconnect and disconnect, you may get confused, okay? But if you do that, you know that you're doing the right thing, so you're flipping those, so that will be okay, you're safe in that sense. Okay?
Okay.
And now, yes,
The last one.
last one, number 20, it's termination types, okay? When you use a real wire, it's not going naked to the connection. You always use, there are many different for that, many different names for that. Some people call it cable shoes, some people call it, there are different names. But you always use something at the end of it, and that is what is going to connect to the other component, to the component from the wire. So now with SOLIDWORKS Electrical, it's possible to choose any wire connected to a specific component and define that that connection has this terminal type or cable shoe or whatever. So it's very easy, you just select the connection, you say, okay, this is the type of termination that is going to be connected to it, and you're ready to go. And then you may get a report with all the connections showing both ends, saying, okay, this end has this termination type, the other end has the other termination type, and you can get the report for that.
Wow.
And I think that's also one enhancement that people is going to use a lot.
Yeah, that's fantastic to notice that this is, I mean, all the limits that are finding our users are being treated and are being taken into consideration. So that's great, fantastic. And there are much more than 20 also, that's the point.
Yes.
But well, for the moment, our users already are seeing those improvements because it is here since 2019.
Yes.
So yes, they are now using it and seeing how awesome it is. And that's it for the moment.
That's it. There are many other enhancements that they can take a look into the documentation of the SOLIDWORKS.
Of course.
But we're giving some like 20 of them for the two products. So I think it's good enough.
And we'll see you 20 others in 2020.
Next year probably, yeah.
That's it. Thank you very much, Javier, for that.
Thanks to you. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.